October 3rd, 18-something. To the esteemed members of the Society, I trust this letter finds you well. Despite the harrowing times in which we live, I must regrettably intrude upon your affairs to bring to your attention a matter of utmost urgency. A matter that falls directly within our purview and demands swift investigation. The night's storm has brought with it an ill omen. The lighthouse of New Arkham, which stands as a guide to ships navigating the treacherous coastline, has begun to act unpredictably. Erratic flashes, whispers among the wind, and an unholy glow have plagued its beam. Those who have come close speak of strange figures moving within the light, phantoms unseen by mortal eyes. Just last night, a vessel nearly shattered upon the rocks, its captain speaking of a malicious force guiding the waters to consume his ship. What concerns us most, however, are the rumors of a presence that lingers on the cliffs where the lighthouse stands. It is said this entity wanders by night, its spectral lantern a harbinger of ruin for all who see it. I need not remind you of the dangers that such an apparition might pose, nor the damage its influence may already have wrought upon the delicate balance between our world and theirs. The details remain shrouded in mystery, but we have reason to suspect that this phenomenon is no isolated incident. The locals whisper of drowned spirits and a curse stretching back generations, a curse that seems to have awakened with newfound fury. Your skills are required to discern the truth behind these happenings, and if necessary, to vanquish whatever presence has taken hold of the lighthouse. Please make your way to Covencrest Manor at your earliest convenience. I shall provide you with more information upon your arrival.
It's silly. Call me Henry, Harold. Henry. Okay. All right. Still the same. Okay. All right.
Have you killed anyone today?
Virginia, how have you been? You look fantastic.
Hello, Harold. How are you?
Henry, come on now.
Henry today. Understood. It's been quite some time.
Yes, let me look at you. You feeling better? Everything's good?
I am alive.
Okay.
Thanks to you, surprisingly.
All right.
Surprise.
I don't know if I like that tone. Enzo, last time I saw you, you were beat up. How you doing?
Better, thanks to you, actually. Harold, good to see you.
One Mr. Elijah Pruitt. Missing. Status unknown. He seems to have vanished the night before last, leaving the lighthouse abandoned. Those closest to him have indicated that Elijah had been acting a bit odd, and hearing voices.
Do you have any inclination of a good place to start? What do the spirits tell you?
You smell a whiff of perfume.
The spirits seem to be quiet tonight, but there is a hint of something in the air. It smells like perfume. I can't quite place it.
Lighthouse emerges from the swirling mists of the sea, towering and stark against the sky. Its blackened stone walls rise high above the jagged cliffs of New Arkham, standing defiant against the wind that howls like a restless spirit. Ivy and creeping vines claw their way up its side, and the stones are pitted and weather-worn, marked by years of salt and storm. The lighthouse itself has an eerie presence, its tall cylindrical form tapering upward to a glass-walled lantern room that sits like a crown on its summit. The massive lamp inside, normally a beacon of safety, stands cold and darkened, its lens smeared with grime and salt crust. Its erratic flashes are gone, leaving only the hollow echo of the wind.
I'm gonna pick up the journal and kind of like look at it, and I'm gonna look at the map.
Before you get there, you walk across the floor towards these books, the book and the map. You hear a very loud creak as you step on one particular floorboard.
I'm gonna do one of those things where it's like, step forward, step back. And then I look down. Well, that's particular. And I just keep going.
It's creaking, Harold. It's creaking.
Yeah, that's poor
It's definitely
craftsmanship.
You don't have to keep creaking it.
Okay. My mistake. Enzo, do you mind? And I like point at him because he's stronger than I am, and I can't even bend over.
And you see that underneath this has the groove of someone who has been like lifted this panel out many times, hence the squeak. There is a small hook and a key dangling from it. Anyone paying attention to Enzo would see him kind of go a little rigid. Nothing to be concerned about. But Enzo, you loose this key from the hook. You see what you imagine to be the same lighthouse, the same area, and you see a woman walking the cliffs, carrying a lantern, waves crashing against the rocks. So she's walking like the cliff that overlooks the water where the lighthouse is. You see her walking along the cliffside, staring almost longingly into the water, and you are overcome with a sense of sorrow. And you feel a chill. As soon as you press it to your chest, you sort of feel a chill that sort of it could be like the wind, that sort of chill that makes you do that little shiver down your spine, right? You feel that happen. There's something strange about the doll, the way it compresses against your chest, it should be straw filled or something, and there's something about it that just feels weird. And as you take it away, you see, you perhaps didn't notice it before, but on the chest, you see what at first looked like an upside down U, just a symbol on the shirt. You realize is a horseshoe. An upside-down horseshoe.
Given the setting and the materials used, I would say this is a token of fortune, a good luck doll, as it were.
Perhaps it'll grant us some luck.
Perhaps. Give it a squeeze and see if there's anything inside it.
Okay. She's gonna ruffle around the belly of the doll and squeeze it and...
Again, there is a strange crunch that should be hay, and judging by how old it is, the hay should be, softened by now, but there is a little bit of a crinkle
Does anyone have a knife or maybe some scissors?
I whip out my scalpel. It's does something need to be cut?
Do you mind performing some surgery on this doll?
Oh, Virginia, I never mind.
You cut open this sack doll, and you see that it is mostly stuffed with straw, but there is a rolled up piece of parchment inside of its chest cavity.
Use your prize.
She takes the parchment and immediately opens it.
As you pick it up, you see that the lantern wick bursts into flame, and it begins to glow. The room vanishes in a swirl of smoke and mist, and you find yourself standing on the edge of the cliffs, a storm raging around you. The wind howls like a chorus of mourning voices, and the rain stings your skin like needles. Above you, the lighthouse stands tall, its beams sweeping across the water, but it flashes erratically, illuminating the storm-tossed sea in brief, frantic bursts. In those flashes of light, the world distorts, as if reality itself is warping and tearing at the seams. In one moment, the beam of the lighthouse sweeps across the sea and reveals a ghostly shipwreck. A galleon of blackened wood, torn sails, and skeletal figures clinging to its side as it groans and creaks in the waves. The ship seems impossibly close, as if it's about to be smashed against the cliffs. But with the next flash of light, it vanishes, leaving only the swirling waters behind. And then you see her, a woman, in a long tattered dress, standing at the edge of the cliffs, her face obscured by the wind-tangled strands of her hair. She holds a lantern, just like the one in your hand. And its light is a haunting mirror image, blue-green, ethereal, and unnatural. The woman turns, and for a fleeting moment, her eyes lock with yours. Hollow, sorrowful, and filled with a deep rage that seems to pierce through your very soul. The woman's mouth moves, but no words come out. Only a deafening silence, and heavy and oppressive. And then the silence is broken by a voice, disembodied and echoing through the storm. A voice like 100 whispers overlapping, speaking directly into your mind. Return the light. Bring it back. The debt must be paid. Suddenly the vision shifts, and you are no longer standing on the cliffs, but floating beneath the storm-tossed waves. The lantern's light casts a faint glow through the water, revealing ghostly faces swimming around you, their mouths open in silent screams. The current pulls at you, dragging you deeper into the depths, and as you see the lantern in your hand sinking down into the abyssal trench, a gaping maw that seems to stretch endlessly into the darkness below. The lantern's glow flickers, fighting against the pull of the dark waters, and then a shadowy figure lunges from the depths. A hand, skeletal and dripping with seaweed, grabs your wrists. The grip is cold, unyielding, and filled with an overwhelming sensation of despair and regret. As the hand pulls you downward, the vision fades, and you are left with a final image burned into your mind. The face of the woman. Arise, minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming. We are here. We are back for episode 2 of our Vaesen campaign. This one is called The Witching Hour. Episode 2 is called The Lantern's Glow. If you like what we do here and you guys want to support us, the best way to do that is over on our Patreon, link in the description down below. While you're down there, click on that Discord link. Join us in the Discord. Be a part of the community. Be a part of the conversation. Also, apparently, September is still going, I think. So that's, do that if you want to. You know how I feel about Twitch subs. Go for it if you want. And as always, in the bottom right-hand corner is the corruption bar. That bar serves two purposes. One is when that bar fills, I get to unleash spooky dread on the players, and just the players, not the characters. And two, every single dollar that goes into that bar goes back to these wonderful, amazing faces that you see here before you. That being said, let's cut to Rhode Island in 18-something, where we're in a lighthouse and everything's going fine. Right? Right. We're going to cut back in time just a few moments before any lights are glowing and anyone's screaming or flailing or having any visions, etc., etc. We cut over to Miss Winifred. Winifred, you have received just a clerk's level of paperwork. And you have just been completely enthralled by all of these papers. I believe the last count was you had Elijah Pruitt's journal, you had a stack of letters, you had a book from a trunk, and there was a smattering of papers scattered around the bedroom that I believe you also had.
Yes.
Which of those, if any, would you like to go through first?
First one I'd like to go through, I'm assuming that the lighthouse logbook is the journal.
That's an assumption.
Let me look at the journal first.
All right. You look at the journal, and it appears to be a personal journal, as it were. There are many entries, so there's no need to roll for this. This is just you read. You can read. It's a free action. So I'm going to share this with everybody. Show everyone so you can all see this. And then I'm going to share with the audience here. August 22nd, 18-something. The weather is cooling, though the sea still has the warmth of late summer. The lighthouse has been steady, as always, though I've noticed the flame flickers more than usual. I'll tend to it tomorrow. August 27th. Last night something strange happened. While adjusting the lamp, I saw something in the fog. A figure, maybe, standing at the edge of the cliff. I went to investigate, but by the time I reached the spot, there was nothing there, just the wind and sea. Strange how my mind plays tricks on these long nights. September 1st. The light flickers more frequently now, and I cannot seem to stop it. I've cleaned the lens and adjusted the machinery, but it feels as though the flames itself fights me. Worse still, the figure has returned. Always at the edge of the cliffs, always in the fog. She stands there with a lantern in hand, though her face remains hidden. Is she watching me? September 4th. The dreams have begun. Each night I see her more clearly, the woman with the lantern. She walks the cliffs, her light bobbing like a ship lost at sea. She calls to me, though I cannot hear her words, only the tone, melancholy and desperate. I wake with the taste of salt on my lips and the sound of waves in my ears. I've tried to ignore it, but it lingers in my thoughts throughout the day. September 7th. The flame failed last night. No matter what I did, I could not keep it steady. Each time I relit it, the wind would snuff it out, though there was barely a breeze. The sea is quiet, but my heart is heavy with dread. I saw her again, closer this time, just at the base of the cliffs. Her lantern flickered like mine, as if they were connected. She beckoned, and for the first time I understood. She wants the lantern. the one I carry. But why? What does she need it for? September 10th. I can't escape her. Awake or asleep, she follows. The light in the tower grows dim, and I hear her now, whispering my name on the wind. She walks the cliffs at night, closer each time. She has no face, only shadows where her features should be. But her eyes, they burn with a cold fire. She is waiting for me, I'm sure of it. But I won't give her the lantern. I mustn't. September 13th. The villagers have started talking. They say they've seen lights on the cliffs and strange things near the lighthouse. Some have heard singing, others weeping. But no one has seen her, only me. She's tied to me somehow, and I fear what will happen if she gets the lantern. It's all connected to her, to the curse. September 15th. I've hidden the lantern. I don't know if it will stop her, but it's all I can do. I've placed it where she cannot reach. If she finds it, I fear what will come next. My dreams are filled with the wreckages of ships, broken bodies on the shore, and her, always her, standing among the dead. She wants them, I think. She needs the lantern to bring them back, to guide them. But to what end? September 17th. The light in the tower is failing. I can barely keep it going. She calls to me more frequently now, her voice louder, clearer. Bring it back, she says. Return it to me. But I can't. If I give it to her, I will doom us all. The dead will rise, the sea will claim us. I feel it in my bones, a cold that won't leave me. I mustn't give in. September 18th. I see them in the fog now, shapes moving in the mist, the crew of the Beacon's Heart, the ship that wrecked here long ago. They walk the shore, searching, calling. She stands among them, always watching me. I fear it won't be long now. The lantern, it's calling for her. I don't know how much longer I can keep her at bay. And lastly, September 19th. The light, it is failing me. I hear her calling from the cliffs, begging for the lantern to be returned to her, but I mustn't. If I do, all will be lost. I must keep the lantern hidden, away from her grasp. And the entry cuts off abruptly, as if Elijah stopped writing mid-thought. No further entries follow. That
Are
last
there
entry.
Any entries? Oh, sorry.
That last entry is several days ago.
Right. Okay. Are there any entries prior to the August 22nd, the first entry that you read? Or is that the beginning of the journal? No,
there is a full year's worth of journal, and that takes on what you would expect to have found. A general log of maintenance of the lighthouse, ships that came in, general, to-do about the lighthouse from Elijah. That seems to be much more of a lightkeeper's log.
Okay. Skimming back a few days before the 22nd, is there any mention of where he got this flickering lantern that she's coming for?
There is not.
All right. I'm going to turn to the... Let's see. There was the journal, there was a book that was in the floor, correct?
Yep, there's a journal on his nightstand. There was a bunch of letters tied with string under the floor. There was a logbook inside the chest with the lantern, and there was a scattering of papers around the house.
I want to skim the letters that were bundled together real quick, just to see who they were to.
Okay. Skimming them quickly, they all seem to be to a man named Robert from a woman named Martha.
Okay. I'm going to set those to the side. I feel like that's important. And I want to jump to the book that was found in the chest with the lantern.
Skimming this as well, you see that this looks to be a sailor's logbook. And if you'd like to give me just a quick, let's do a quick learning roll,
Okay.
just to see, how well you skim it.
Okay. And then I know I have something from, is it +2 from my advantage? Is that
You can only use it once per session, so if you'd like to use it now, you can, or you can save it.
I'm going to save it.
Okay. Okay, one success. Perfect. You quickly skim through this, and you note that the sailor appears to be a a sailor on board the ship mentioned in Elijah Pruitt's journal. The ship that crashed.
Right. Is skimming through it, is there any mention of a lantern that catches my eye?
Is there a mention of a lantern? There is a mention of a lantern. It seems to be, you skim specifically, like a crossword, right? You skim, or a word search. You skim specifically for the word lantern. You see the word lantern a couple times, but nothing about what you're seeing in the surrounding words, gives you, the creepy feeling that his journal gave you.
Okay, gonna hold on to that. Now I'm going to the letters.
Okay. The letters that were under the floorboard?
Yes.
Okay.
And I will note that at this point, Winifred is just completely tunnel vision hyper focused on the documents and oblivious to.
Yeah, I
going
imagine
on around her.
everyone's sort of just handing you stuff, so you're going through this while everyone else is experiencing, Enzo's ripping up the floorboard, Virginia's, opening the chest, this whole thing, while you're just sort of in a fugue academia state. So if you're going through the letters, I'll go ahead and share this to everybody and read aloud for the class. Dated, August 9th, 17-something. Dearest Robert, the nights are long without you, my love. I sit here by the shore watching the waves, hoping to see the sails of the beacon's heart on the horizon. Each day I long for your return to feel your arms around me again. The sea has taken you so far from me, but I know you will return, for our bond is stronger than distance. I carry the light with me always, just as you asked. Every night I light the lantern and wait for you. Please come back to me soon. Yours forever, Martha. October 14th. Robert, it's been weeks since your last letter, and my heart grows heavy with worry. Have you forgotten me? Have you found another shore, another love? I cannot bear the thought, but the villagers whisper cruel things, saying your ship was lost and that no one will return. But I know the truth. I feel it in my bones. You are alive, and you will come back to me. The light I keep burning will guide you home, no matter how far the sea has taken you. I remain yours, Martha. November 3rd. Robert, I saw you today. Or so I thought. A ship passed near the cliffs, and I swear I saw your face among the crew. I waved the lantern, but you did not come. Why did you not stop? Why did you not return to me? The others say I'm mad, but I know what I saw. Was it you? Are you still out there, wandering the sea? I cannot give up hope. The lantern will keep burning, for I will never stop waiting for you. With all my love, Martha. November 30th. Robert, the villagers say your ship wrecked off the northern coast, that all aboard are lost to the depths. I refuse to believe them. The sea could never take you from me. I have heard rumors of a pact, a way to bring you back to me, even from the depths of the ocean. They warn me it's dangerous, but what is life without you? I will do whatever it takes, Robert, even if it means calling upon forces I cannot fully understand. I cannot live without you. I have found someone who can help. They say the light can guide not just the living, but the lost as well. And so, I will do it. I will bring you home. Forever yours, Martha. December 12th. Robert, I did what I had to. I made the pact. The lantern burns brighter now, and I see them, those lost at sea. They walk the shore, shadows beneath the waves. I called your name, but you did not come. Why have you not come? Why do you leave me here alone in the dark? The others have come, Robert, but not you. Did you betray me? Do you not wish to return? The light grows colder with every night, and the sea whispers secrets I can barely comprehend. I will wait, but my hope fades. I made the sacrifice, and still you do not return to me. Yours in eternity, Martha. January 1st. Robert, you have betrayed me. I know the truth now. You never intended to return. You found another, didn't you? You left me here to wait, night after night, while you sailed away to some distant shore. But the sea does not forget, and neither do I. I will make you come back. I will make all of you come back. The pact has bound me to this place, and now the sea itself obeys my will. Ships will crash upon these rocks, and the souls they carry will join me, waiting forever. The light will never go out, and you will never find peace, not until you return to me, Martha.
The name of the journal that was found in the chest. You said it was a sailor's journal. What was that? Is there a name?
There is no name of the sailor in question, as typically you don't say, hey, journal, my name is name. Right. But the journal does, in fact, mention the beacon's heart.
Okay. All right. And now I want to look over the documents that were scattered all over the room.
Yes, these documents seem to be written in the same, well, arguably the same hand as the original journal, although they seem a little bit more like frantic.
Yeah.
And I will go ahead and share that. So these are just like random notes sort of scattered around the house. One of them says, she watches me from the cliffs, always in the fog, always with that lantern. What does she want? Why me? The light, it flickered more and more. Something is wrong with it. I can feel it. It isn't just a flame. It's alive. It responds to her somehow. She's connected to it. But how? I must find out. I must stop her. Another note says, voices, always the voices. In the wind, in the waves, at night, I hear them calling from the sea. They whisper my name. They want me to come to them, but I know it's her. I can't go. I can't give in. I won't. The light is the key. The lantern, it's more than it seems. It holds something, something terrible. If she gets it back, she'll open the door. She'll bring them all back. A note from September 1st. I saw her again tonight, closer this time. She looked right at me. Those eyes, empty, hollow, like the sea itself was staring back at me through her. She wants the lantern. I know it now. She can't have it. If she gets it, the dead will rise. The wrecks, the sailors, all of them. She'll bring them back to the cliffs. I have to keep it hidden. She can't know where it is. And then there is a sketch of the lantern. And it says the light, unnatural, cold, like the bottom of the sea, connected to the cliffs, feeds on something, not just flame. A key, a weapon, she needs it. Protect it, hide it. And then another note from a few days ago, dated September 15th. There are others now. I see them in the fog. They walk the cliffs, shadows, figures lost to the sea. They are with her, always watching. I think they're the ones she's taken. The wrecks, the sailors from all the ships that have wrecked here over the years. The light, it draws them in, just like it draws me. I can't hold on much longer. The wind, the whispers, they're too strong.
So, revisiting the information here, she carries a lantern, and then there's this tangible lantern that we have located.
Correct. I mean, you're at this time warp moment, you're not aware that there is, or you're not like fully aware that there's a lantern, as more and more books were handed to you at the time.
Right.
But yes, there is a lantern that Virginia is about to pull from the trunk, and thus receive a terrifying vision from.
Okay. I think that's all of the documents. Is that correct?
I will send out the sailor's logbook so you can see that as well, so I can save my throat just a smidge.
Oh, that's right, because I just skimmed that one. Yes.
So yeah, you have all of these, and then we sort of fast forward, and as you're in this fugue state reading through these things, you hear a scream cut through the relative silence of the lighthouse, and Enzo and Harold, you see Virginia sort of, I imagine from like a kneeling position where you pulled out the lantern, sort of collapse on the floor, lantern still held tightly in her hand.
I'm going to immediately move and try to get the lantern out of her hand. I'm going to grab like some cloth or something like that, if not touch it barehanded. But I'm going to try to pry it out of her hands if I have to.
Yeah, roll me a force, Enzo.
I'd probably run the opposite side to try to just make sure nothing happens to Virginia. My focus would be on making sure Virginia doesn't like heave over or something.
Okay, roll me medicine for Harold.
I glance up and look over at what's happening and say, oh, keep that lantern safe. It's important. And go back to reading.
Yeah, you basically see Virginia is sort of splayed out, and Harold is attending to her, and Enzo's like, I imagine Enzo has like some sort of cloth and like is pulling a lantern free from her death grip. Perfect.
Do be careful, because that lantern might attract the spirit we're dealing with.
That's true. Enzo easily breaks free of her grasp. You see her hand. You could see like the tendons and the muscles sort of contracting as if she was still gripping it. And you give it like one tug, and it slowly loosens enough for you to like finagle it out of her grip.
It doesn't give me any weird visions or anything, right?
No, you wrapped it up in some kind of cloth and yanked it out of here, so you don't see anything wild.
All right, cool.
And then Harold, you slide over to the other side with your creaky bones, and you begin assessing Virginia. She seems to be having a bit of the vapors and seems to have passed out. But you sort of, gentle taps on the cheek and a little bit of a nudge, and you see her eyes flutter, and she is back with us.
I kind of like tap her. I was like, hey, are you okay? Everything good? Hey, stay with me. I check. Eye contact.
She alive?
She comes to for a moment and starts coughing, almost as if she had literally been choking on that water. She wants the lantern. She just keeps repeating it. She wants the lantern. She's here. She wants the lantern.
Yes, it seems she wants it to call the spirits of the dead that have crashed here, that apparently the lantern can open a path to.
Is this like spirits of the dead to lead them to the next life thing, or like to
No.
cause? Oh.
No, she's going to lead them here, probably for something terrible. Are you all right, Miss Dalloway?
I could be better, but I'm okay.
All fingers and toes still accounted for.
Yes.
Excellent.
I help Virginia stand up proper. I'm gonna rush over to the kitchen or whatever is available and try to find some water or something to
I
kind
hold
of.
up a cup with tea in it.
I do one of those things where I run. I'm like, no, and I grab the cup and I run right back to Virginia and be like, here, drink. Don't pass out here now. Are you okay?
Perhaps
Everything.
put a little whiskey in the tea for her, doctor.
Fuck. And I look through my bag and I grab my semi fancy spirit and I just uncork it and I'm just I whisper to Virginia how much do I'm just gonna and I'm just gonna pour a good
That's enough. That's
cup.
enough.
Yep, all right, and I cork it back and I give it to her.
50% tea, 50% whiskey.
Yeah, 10% water with a little bit of seaweed kind of floating around there.
Dalloway, what happened to you?
The room just completely vanished, and it I was on the edge of the cliff. There was a storm happening all around me. The lighthouse was there. It was flashing erratically, and then suddenly I think there was a woman. I'm not entirely sure. There was a skeletal figure, um, all of these moaning and groaning creaks of the waves. It was so frightening. But the woman, she stood there on the edge of the cliff, and she was holding the lantern in her hand. And I think it was the lantern that I picked up. I don't know. And she just kept asking to return the light, bring it back. The debt must be paid.
That must be paid.
Interesting. From what I'm reading here, I believe that woman's name is Martha. She was awaiting the return of her love, Robert. He had sailed off, and she was quite distressed that he had not returned. It sounds like she made a pact with something.
Oh.
Not specific about what it was. However, she finally came to believe that the lantern that you found. It sounds like she carries one, and this is perhaps the one she carried in life. It looks like it's some sort of key that she requires to open a portal of some sort, or a gate for the spirits of the dead that she damned. She made a habit of crashing ships. And she's collected spirits, it sounds like. And that lantern that you hold there is what she needs to bring them round.
Damn it, Martha.
She appears commonly on the cliffs. People in town have seen her, so it would be good for us to go investigate in town as we discussed. I'm going over the sailor's logbook. He was on board the most recent shipwreck. Or no, this was 100 years ago. I correct myself.
While this is being explained, I think Harold would go to the chest to see if there's any kind of runic carvings or anything around the chest that might look like it was like a seal or something to protect whatever's inside of it.
Yeah. You do see that there are carvings. Several of them match symbols on the map that you had seen previously.
Oh, I fucking knew it. I say that out loud. I fucking knew it. And I'm like rummaging around and I'm like, the symbols, the things that, you know, the spooky symbols, they were on the map that I explained, they're on the chest. The arrow was pointing to the chest, which means the map is also pointing to other thingies. So maybe if we go to the other thingies, we can find more spooky things that explains more of this thing.
There was a map.
There was a map.
There was a map.
Excellent.
Do
Does it
I have the
any
map?
reference to the cliffs?
Oh, I
by
do.
chance?
I do have the map.
The map does have reference to the cliffs. It is a hand-drawn map. So like, it's referential only to the eye of the person who wrote it. But it definitely has a lighthouse, and it definitely shows cliffs. So you can assume that it is the lighthouse and the surrounding cliffs.
There are definitely markings on the cliff on this hand-drawn map. This is yes. Should we
Do
go
they
to the
have
cliffs?
any significance?
The
I
markings.
look at. Yeah, I think that's what she's asking.
Virginia has done a little bit of research and knows what a handful of those are.
I
not all
was
of them.
asking in game.
Yeah. Virginia did a bit in game. Virginia did some research, so she has them as a reminder to Virginia's player.
I think Virginia knows. She understood these little scribble dabbles better than I did.
Miss Dalloway.
Yes, so there was a symbol that represents let me see here. It wards off malicious entities. It's the soul rune. That one is pointing to the lighthouse and the cliffs. Where I believe it also says there were strange lights.
Yes.
There is another rune. I believe that's where it's pointing to where voices were heard and spirit was seen. There's a mortar's knot next to the lighthouse and the cave, and a compass rose.
Are GM the symbols that show ward off evil? Are they the same symbols as the one that's on the chest?
Crazy that you would guess that, Paul. It sure is.
Hell yeah, I'm so fucking smart, dude. I got this. I say
Number
that. No, I'm
one
kidding.
investigator.
Harold says that in character. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, well, you know, there are a couple symbols here, but do you think what does this morning sigil represent? Because it's pointing to this cave, and you know people hide things in caves, so I feel like there would be something in the cave, but I don't know what the symbol
What
means.
sort of symbol is it?
I pull out the map.
Mortar's knot.
Yeah, the mortar and pestle. This right here.
Mourner, as in
Mourners.
someone in mourning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mourner's knot. Sorry.
Well, given she appears on the cliffs, she is a ghostly figure at this point. We know she made some compact with something, and it appears that there is a curse involved, although that may just be a layman's term for a pact they didn't know about or understand. I believe that cave is something we should check.
You mentioned
Perhaps wait until tomorrow.
You mentioned that she made a pact. Does it
Yes.
say where she made the pact?
No, just that. Let me pull it up, and I will give you the exact phrasing. Letters. The exact phrasing for it was that let's see, here we are. I will you have betrayed me. I know the truth now. You never intended to return. This is to Robert, her beloved. You never intended to return. You found another, didn't you? You left me here to wait night after night while you sailed away to some distant shore. But the sea does not forget, and neither do I. I will make you come back. I will make all of you come back. The pact has bound me to this place, and now the sea itself obeys my will. Ships will crash upon these rocks, and the souls they carry will join me, waiting forever. The light will never go out, and you will never find peace, not until you return to me.
Damn it, Robert. I knew a Robert once. Not this Robert. He was kind of a dick, though.
Probably not, as this occurred over 100 years ago. Now, one thing that I failed to mention, but I should have, is that Robert, told her to keep the light going. He told her to carry the light, quote, I carry the light with me always, just as you asked. Every night I light the lantern and wait for you. Please come back to me soon. So most likely, she was igniting that lantern and walking along the cliff, holding it out to wander as she watched the sea.
So, do we think we should leave the lantern?
Oh, goodness, no.
Should we put it back in the chest? It had those cryptic ruins on it, or should we bring it with us?
I would leave that to the expert in the occult.
I turn over to Virginia. Should we bring the lantern?
That's hard to say. I feel like it's been safe in this chest this whole time, with the protective runes on it.
The chest was locked until I busted the lid too.
But exactly, and so I'm afraid the protection might not be as potent as it should be. So perhaps taking it with us, while potentially dangerous for us, might be in our best interest.
Is there how is there like a paintbrush or any kind of ink around us?
There would be. I mean, I'm sure. Yeah.
Notebook.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna snatch the pen real quick, and I'm gonna run over and grab some sort of fabric and just whatever blankets around, and I'm gonna try to sketch those protective ruins onto the
Okay.
blanket, and it's gonna be really poorly done, or
You might be
No,
best
no, no,
served to get a
I
piece of charcoal from
I got this. And I'm just gonna scribble it as hard as I can onto the blanket.
Dr.
Okay.
Charcoal might work with the fabric better than ink.
I'm already committed. And I'm just gonna keep trying to scribble it onto the blanket.
Interesting.
I
While
look over at Enzo.
while Harold is doing this, Virginia is gonna also look over to Enzo. Enzo, dear, do you see anything on the lantern? Are there any markings?
I will carefully unwrap it, making sure not to touch it, set it on a nearby surface, and kind of give it a look over.
All right. As you are doing that, Harold, I need you to make a roll for me.
Of course.
I need you to roll me. It's
Close
gonna
combat.
It's gonna be
Let me fight this
empathy
pen.
based. It's
Oh,
gonna be
shit,
empathy
okay.
based. I think it's gonna be inspiration. Go ahead and roll
Oh,
me
hell yeah.
inspiration.
No, I got you. I'm super inspired as fuck. Oh, oops, I forgot to press the button, sorry. Never mind. I'm not inspired at all.
All right, you are absolutely, definitely putting ink to blanket for sure. Cool. Enzo, uh, Enzo, you look over this thing, careful to keep your hands free of it. You see that the lantern is made of tarnished brass. It is very old, it appears. It's definitely like varnished. Not varnished, what's the word for that? There's a word for it. Where it has like that, patina, thank you. Where it has that like blue-green sort of like sickly color to it. You can see that it is like a very traditional design, very like cylindrical glass casing that protects the wick. However, the glass is cracked and dirty and stained. The handle is just a simple arch handle, and the wick is perfectly intact. And you, as you kind of like look around, like the flame chamber, as it were, it does pop back into your mind that you absolutely did see the moment Virginia picked it up, it lit and was blue-green. It is not at all, and there is no there's no singe, there's no like ash, there's nothing on here to indicate that it was ever lit. And there are actually, you know what? Roll me investigation as you look closer.
Look closer. Investigation. Bloop.
You can push if you'd like, or you can take the L on that one. It's up to you.
I don't think he's that committed to it.
Okay. You do not see anything in addition. You just see that description that I gave you.
I turn back to the others. So, what do you think the results would be if we just say smashed it into bits, or
Oh, I would not do that. I think it's going to be essential for
melt it down in a forge?
releasing her spirit from whatever this pact is, so that she
Oh.
can rest and the spirits can be released from it.
Oh my God.
I
Do we think her spirit is in the lantern?
I think the lantern contains the spirits of all the sailors that she has lured to their death. Speaking of which, if you hear a woman's voice calling to you, even if she calls you by name, don't go.
I don't do that anyway, so.
Good.
I also take that blanket or cloth that I was trying to scribble on, and instead of putting it on the lantern, I'm gonna wrap it around myself like a poncho with the runes facing outwards, or whatever I chicken scratched onto it.
Now, what's curious to me, September 15th, he hid the lantern. And then on the 19th, he stopped writing altogether. But he mentions he hid the lantern. He don't knows if it will stop her, but it's all he can do. He placed it where she cannot reach. If she finds it, I fear what will come next. My question, however, is, if he's the one who scrawled those runes, how did he know? Was he a member of the society, perhaps? Or
Well-
just a odd practitioner?
Maybe wherever the spooky lady made the pact, maybe they're around. Maybe because he had the book, right? The book explained it. Maybe he had the same idea as we did. Maybe he went and found wherever this pact became from and got some insight and some information.
I think we'll find that information in the cave. However, I think we would be best served to go into town first and
Yeah.
investigate.
Ask around town. I like that.
The thing here is, this happened so long ago. There's not going to be anybody in town who was alive when it happened.
Oh no,
right?
this is his Elijah's journal speaks of the people in town having heard whispers, some hear singing. They started talking on September 13th, which was about how many days ago?
Let's say it's around the 22nd now.
All right.
What year is it again? Remind me.
18
18,
something.
18 something something. Is that
Mhm.
other journal 18 something something close
No,
to the
1700s.
17. So about 100 years. Okay, gotcha.
Which makes me wonder if perhaps the sailor's logbook is tied to Robert. Although I don't think so, because she did call to him and he gave up and went to her, and if it was Robert, she would have fulfilled the term of her curse, potentially. Depending on how she phrased bargain.
What time is it, GM?
It's probably like mid-afternoon. I think Enzo got to Covencrest at noonish.
Okay.
And from Covencrest to New Arkham, it's probably a 30-minute, not even, maybe
Gotcha.
15-minute carriage ride. And then a small sail on a dinghy out to the island you're on. So it's probably like 2, maybe 3
AM?
p.m.
PM? PM?
in the afternoon, 2, 3
After,
a.m.
sorry, I don't know if you said midnight or not. So
Nope.
Okay.
It's midday. It's late afternoon.
Midday. I was gonna make a joke. I was gonna be like, "Would you say it's witching hour?" Sorry.
God damn it, Paul.
Sorry.
Witching hour is 3 a.m.
That's why I was hoping you were gonna say 3 a.m. and I was,
Nope,
you know.
it's like 2 to 3
You ruined the joke,
p.m.
Mike.
Sorry,
Damn it.
buddy. I'm sorry that you started your investigation I'm sorry that you started your horror investigation in the middle of the day. My
I'm gonna
bad.
do that night. What are you crazy?
My
If
bad.
you're gonna investigate horror, middle of the day is the best time. Why would
My
you wait
bad.
until the night?
Yeah, speaking since it's the middle of the day, why don't we just take a trip down to look at the cliffs? I mean, as long as it's not going to take until the lights go out.
I think that's a good idea. Was there any fog when we arrived?
Not like a thick, ominous, Stephen King-esque fog, but like you're at the bottom of a cliff on a small rocky island, so there's always kind of a bit of fog. And you're in the early, autumn, so there's always a little bit of a
Right.
fog and a mist where you are.
Okay.
So it seems like our option is to go into town and talk with the locals about this journal and figure some stuff out there, or go check out the spooky cave that has a ruin that we don't know yet, which I don't vote for. But regardless of where we go, what do we do with that? And then I take a stick and I poke the lantern.
I think we should take it with us. I don't feel like
Agreed.
the chest is safe anymore.
I would agree with that, absolutely.
Damn
I
it.
think Enzo has a good point. I would agree with him that we go and just inspect the cliffs. We don't go into the cave until we've acquired more information, just in case we run into whatever she formed this pact with.
Also, if we're going to be talking to people, it's best to do it after they're done with work and into their cups. It loosens their lips a bit.
No, yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
There's that remarkable people skills that I've heard so much about.
All right. Let's go to the cliffs and bring the lantern, which ironically is where the lady was seen. But sure, I'm sure this is fine. Let's figure this out.
I haven't seen anything indicating she's been seen during the daylight hours. If the fog gathers more, if it thickens, it would be a good idea for us to leave.
It's okay. I made a ruined blanket. They'll protect me. I show off the blanket. I don't know how
Very
fucked
nice,
up the.
Doctor.
Thank you.
I feel
My-
like
My precision skills are great.
I feel like the moment you grabbed the blanket and started etching the runes, I don't know if I'm alone here, but I feel like the majority of people assumed you were making the blanket to like put the lantern in and then
Yeah.
like hobo on a railroad the lantern with you. And the moment you put it on like a cape, I was like, absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, of course. I don't. I'm here, dude. I'm like frail old dude. I'm not gonna run nowhere. Okay, I
It
gotta
definitely
turtle down. You know what I'm
it
saying?
absolutely came across as you're like, got it. I'll make a bundle full of the runes to
yeah.
protect the lantern. I got this. And then
That's what I
you were like,
figured.
I'll protect me.
Yeah, that's
Fuck
what I figured.
everyone else.
Listen, I have to be a little.
I
gotta
love
protect
it.
myself a little bit. You know
Quick
what I'm saying?
question.
Yes.
Enzo, you went up the stairs to the large lantern, did you not?
Yeah, the beacon.
Did you see anything up there?
A place where they light the beacon. Probably stick this lantern in there. I don't know.
No, I'm just thinking that it would be a good idea if we can get that lantern to ignite, because judging by what I've read here, she appears on the cliffs trying to lure ships in where they crash. So if we can ignite the beacon, that might help prevent more ships from running aground or hitting the rocks.
Just as a reminder, no one has been to the actual lantern room yet. You went to the stairs, but you found that the door was locked, Enzo.
Oh, okay. I misinterpreted. I thought you meant like the lantern box was locked up.
No. So there's like the house, and then there's like the stairs up the actual lighthouse, and there's a room at the top, and that room is locked.
Okay. Well, we got the key for it.
I have the key. I do. And then I rummage through, and I pull out the brass. I think it was a brass key. Wait, what did I write?
Yes.
Okay, doesn't matter. I wrote creepy old key from the floor. So
Still accurate. Still very accurate.
And I hold it up. Would this work? And I kind of not point, but like I lean, like gesture towards Enzo.
I'm assuming that's what it goes to. Yeah.
Enzo, would you mind doing the honors?
All right. Last time I touched that thing, it gave me some heebie-jeebies. So I will grab a piece of cloth, wrap the key in the cloth. I'm also going to stick the lantern in the box and close the chest and close it. So at least it may not, but it's probably better than nothing right now.
Yeah.
Better
And
than
then
risking it touching someone.
Or somebody wandering by and deciding that it's free stuff.
I think it's best we take it with us everywhere we go.
How big's the chest? Like under the arm kind of carry, or like 2-arm carry?
It's a 2-arm carry. It's definitely like one of those, like it's like a Foot Locker chest that you put at the end of your bed for like, blankets. It's like a cedar chest essentially for like wool, that kind of thing.
Is there like a backpack or a sack around me that I'm looking for?
Well, there's a big piece of cloth with runes carved on it.
That's for me. Thank you very much.
You do have a medical bag. One of those like large doctor's bags.
All right, fine. I guess like do we want to take the lantern with us now, or do we want to?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
I do not think it would be wise to let it out of our sight.
Would the lantern fit in my medical bag?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna I'll take the wrapped lantern and I'll put it into the medical bag. I'll close the medical bag, and then I'm gonna get another rag and wrap my medical bag in that rag, and then I'm gonna wrap it on my back, like tie it like a what people do with like they get like a blanket and then they make a rope and they tie it around them. I'm gonna do that and then put the ruined blanket on top of that, so it looks like I have a giant hump on my back with ruined blankets covering me. So I look like a runic turtle old man.
I love that. I also love that in your mind there was a world in which I said, "Hey, you have a medical bag," and also that I would tell you that the lantern doesn't fit in the medical bag.
I thought that'd be so funny. It's like I try. It's like, oh, this ain't gonna work.
Just trying to jam it in there.
You plan on taking this thing back to the manor?
Yes.
All right, I'd like to get the chest. I can carry it if I need to, but I'd like to get that chest before we leave.
There's no one. I mean, as far as you know, there's no one else on the island other than you and the little boat you got to row back. So there's plenty of room in the boat for you to scoot yourself back over to the mainland, as it were. Okay.
One moment before we go upstairs, I just want to see something. I want to walk out the door and just stand there for a moment. Do I get the feeling we're being watched?
Roll me observation. Actually, you know what? I'll take observation or vigilance. You tell me which one.
All right. Let me see here. Let's do... let's do vigilance.
Oh, damn.
You walk outside and are immediately taken aback by the feeling of being watched. Like, as soon as you step outside, there's enough, salt sea spray and enough, wind that all of the small hairs on the back of your neck stand. And you have that, walking alone with the lamp lights flickering out, kind of feeling like something is around you even though you can't feel what it is. And as you like look around, you cast your gaze up towards the cliffs, being that's where people are. The mainland is where anyone would be who is watching you, and you see nothing. And as you turn back, perhaps to go back in the house, perhaps to get a handle of your surroundings, you can't shake the feeling that the water around you is watching you.
What the fuck?
Based on what I have read, is it a reasonable theory that the spirits of the drowned sailors are tied to the water surrounding this port?
Based on what you have researched thus far, that's as reasonable a theory as anything else you've said.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's
in
not
the
it's not like
letter-
ridiculous a theory.
This is
Okay.
out of character, but like in the letter, remind me. It also said like she controlled the waters or something
Yes.
along those
Yeah.
lines, right? Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Martha, if you are there and if you can hear me, be patient. Your release is coming.
Are you saying this out loud?
She's
I'm
outside.
outside, but yeah.
Oh, outside. Okay, all right. Okay. We're like, holy shit, she's working with her. No, I'm just kidding.
And I will turn, and she sort of puts her back even straighter in sort of the authoritarian, not bothered sort of way, and just turns and walks back into the house and closes the door behind her.
Now,
I believe.
in all due, back and forth respect there, my question for you, Miss Katie, is for Winifred, how much of that straight back academic authority is real, and how much is a show for whatever's watching you?
I think it's probably like 90% real.
Okay.
But there's always that sort of undercurrent of, I cannot see this thing. I don't know exactly what I'm dealing with. But I need to send a message.
Hell yeah, you do. You don't take
Yeah.
no shit from no
There's-
spirits.
Even from a level of academia, there's a moment where there's an understanding that you fully know that there are things beyond your sphere of knowledge, and you accept that there are things out there, but the lack of knowledge about them is still enough to make the hair on your neck stand.
Yes.
For sure.
Perfect. Yes.
For sure. So you walk back in, and the scene is yours.
Did you get some fresh air?
Do keep the lantern close and safe.
I smack my back, be like, I got it. Don't worry.
We are under observation.
Oh.
Yes.
You see someone out there? Somebody
No.
follow us up?
No. More of a obscure observation.
Do you think it's
I think it's her.
the woo?
Hmm.
Oh. Does someone else want to carry the lantern? I mean, I don't.
If
I
you're
can
too
carry it if
afraid,
you-
Harold.
I'm not afraid. I'm not.
It
I'm just
may-
saying.
It may behoove us to have Miss Dalloway carry it, as she's encountered Martha already.
I look over Virginia. Yeah, do you want it?
I will happily take it from you, Harold,
Okay.
if you don't want it.
I never said I didn't want it. It seems like you want it. But I'm obliged to, of course. Sure.
I really don't care who has it, as long as they keep their head on a swivel.
Well. All
I
right.
just think that she has the best eye for keeping a lookout for Martha.
I'm gonna give Virginia the sack that is wrapped in my doctor's bag with the lantern inside the doctor's bag, and then I'm gonna hand it to Virginia and then lean over to Enzo and be like, just stay close to her.
Of course. We're going upstairs now.
Yeah.
I don't give you my blanket though. Blanket's mine. Just saying. I need that to be very clear. I think we all head upstairs.
All right. I lead the way up the stairs to the door. Take the key, careful not to touch it, and see if it opens the door, which I imagine it does.
Okay. Well, since you didn't go there last time, I'm going to read my little narrative thing that I wrote. Because I wrote it. Inside, the narrow spiral staircase curls tightly up the tower, each step worn smooth by countless climbs. The walls are lined with chipped paint and rusted features, and the air is heavy with the scent of mildew and damp stone. As you ascend, your footfalls echo in the empty space, blending with the rhythmic crash of waves against the cliffs below, a constant reminder of the precarious drop just outside these fragile walls. Reaching the lantern room, the wind intensifies and the chill hits like a knife. The glass panels are cracked and smeared with fog, making it difficult to see far beyond the immediate reach of the tower. Abandoned tools and machinery clutter the floor, a tarnished spyglass, a brass compass stuck at an unnatural angle, and pages of logbooks soaked with sea spray, their inked words bled and smudged beyond recognition. Amidst the disarray, a large metal oil lamp stands in the center, its mechanism strangely cold and untouched, as if it has not been lit for days. It faces out towards the sea, its beam long extinguished, but in the heavy silence, it almost feels as though it watches, waiting for someone to restore its light, or perhaps to find what lies hidden in its shadows. The wind's cry turns mournful as it circles the tower, and for a moment the entire structure feels like it's swaying, moving with the tide below. The emptiness seems to press down on you, and though no one else is present, a sense of being watched settles heavily on your shoulders, lingering with each step you take through the abandoned lighthouse. There is an unsettling stillness here, an unexpected quiet, as if the building itself is holding its breath, waiting for someone to discover the secrets it harbors within its stone walls.
And here we are.
Winifred, you gotta speak. I'm a little hard of hearing. I can't really.
Yes, I apologize, Doctor. In the event we come across her, you are very good at interacting with people. You have a sort of gift for charming people. If you could keep her distracted, that would be most helpful.
Earl kind of gets flustered a little bit. Like, yeah, of course. Yeah, it makes absolute sense that I would be the one that can, carry on the conversation. Of course, no, not a problem. Not a problem. I might even offer her a little bit of blanket. I don't know, but yeah, no, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Enzo, would you lead the way, please? I don't really want to walk in there without you.
Oh yeah, I'm already in there.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Yeah, he opened the door. He's in there.
Okay.
And basically doesn't really know what to look for, so he's just kind of letting you guys take the lead.
I'll creepily step in, like Scooby-Doo style.
I am staying close to Enzo.
Are there any tools and such in there to relight the lantern?
Yeah. I mean, you can root around and, none of you, it's a lantern, right? So, it can't be that hard, but none of you are also light keepers. So, you can, collectively, the group is smart enough to figure out how to light this lamp. There are, tools to light the lamp. You find them scattered in the debris and the detritus around this room. However, if anyone attempts to light the lantern, it does not light. The wick does not take a flame.
Is there... I touched the wick. Is there oil on the wick?
Yep.
So like
you smell it, and it does smell like... probably at this time, be like whale.
So it's like it's very clear it should be working, but it's not like lighting. Okay.
Yeah, everything points to this should be on fire right now.
I apologize if you hear my dog. She's barking in her sleep.
Oh,
that's adorable.
Don't ever apologize for that. That is adorable. Could I look around this little lantern room to see if there's any like ruins or any kind of?
Yeah, anyone who would like to look around can roll me investigation, and we can see what's in here.
Investigation. Oh shit. All right. Well, look. Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, 2 for Winifred, 1 for Harold,
Yo!
2 and 2. Hell yeah, hell yeah. All
We
right,
are
cool.
Scooby doing this bitch. I'm
We'll
telling
Harold
start-
is really admiring his handiwork on the blanket.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of it.
Harold, we'll start with you since you mentioned it. What are you looking at specifically?
So I remember the ruins from the map, and I just want to see if there's anything that resembles the information from the map along the walls or along any kind of symbols or like ruins from the map in here. Anything in carvings on the wall, pages. I don't know.
Absolutely. You sort of look around here, and you're focusing on the internal of the room as you sort of circle around this area, and the overcast clouds part in a way that a single beam of light sort of hits the glass in a little sparkly glint that sort of catches your eye. And as you turn, just the way the light is reflecting off of the window, you can see that it's not just piercing the window, it's actually refracting slightly. And you look to see why, and you can see etched into the glass of one of the like solid panes of glass are symbols that you have seen on the map before.
Which symbols are they? Would I be able to recognize it?
You would be able to recognize it. How closely did you pay attention to Virginia's explanation of what they are?
Oh, I was like hovering over her because I was like super intrigued.
So there is a symbol. And if you are hovering over it, you know that on the map there is a circled location that is near the cave that says the words "The Lantern's Rest?" ? And there's a symbol near that. That symbol is appearing here in the lantern room, and that is a star symbol with interlocking lines that have like no beginning or end, so it's like one just contiguous sign. And in the center of the star is a triangle pointing downward, surrounded by swirly lines like maybe wind or waves, you're not entirely sure. And you recall that Virginia had mentioned that this was some sort of warding or banishment sign.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. Well, I just convey that. I point and I tell everyone, oh, look, there's a sigil, a symbol of the spooky go bye-bye ghost ruins on the window. And what I'll do is I'll grab a little bit of dust or whatever, like little whatever I can find, and like kind of like push it, like throw it against it to see if I can, you know how people do the fingerprint thingy with the glass. Yes. I have no idea if I'm explaining this correctly.
Yes.
Yeah, I would try to do that to kind of like emphasize on the ruin on the window.
Okay. So that is what Harold finds, and then just going in order from there, Winifred, what are you looking at specifically? Or looking for specifically?
I'm going to look for any... Hang on, let me think for a second. Sorry. I want to look for any documentation, any indication that there was... Oh, wait, no, that's in the journal. So, actually, sorry. What I want to look for is if I want to examine the wick, if it's charred, if there is any indication of why it's not taking flame that cannot be... I want to rule out the supernatural, basically.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, you do. You spend some time looking at the actual lantern mechanism itself. And you notice a couple things. You kind of put your hand on the wick and you do feel that there is oil. It's not bone dry, right? But you also realize that to produce a flame large enough to reflect in this, to send a signal out for ships, the wick would need to be far longer. And it appears as though the wick is quite short, maybe an inch outside the mechanism. And it should be probably closer to like 6. You also notice that though the wick itself is coated in oil, you kind of open the mechanism beneath the actual lantern to look at the well, and the glass or the whatever glass, we'll call it glass, the glass jug that sits under there is dry. There is a very small amount of oil at the very bottom where you see the wick is sort of coiled down to, but this appears to be empty.
Okay. Oh. We need oil. Can I adjust the wick so that it stands up more?
Yeah, you can sort of unscrew this thing and pull it out more.
Yeah.
You do note that, like, if you pull it out to its extent, the wick, which is normally coiled in the bottom, is barely touching the bottom, which would indicate either this one wick had been burning for years at that rate, or it was cut. And you do see there is no burn on there at all, so one would lead to it could have been cut. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need to try to find supplies for the lantern itself. Or the beacon, rather. And I'll go back to examining and playing with things.
Jumping down. Enzo, what are you looking at?
I was just gonna kind of wander around and look for anything that just seems out of place, something that maybe doesn't belong there. Just anything that just looks funky.
Yeah, absolutely. You look around and you can see, in fact, you know what? There's a moment where you kind of look around and you're looking in the weird, like, nooks and crannies of places where, like, you know, someone less reputable might hide something. And as you make your way over to one of, like, the rounded walls, your foot slips a little bit. And you can see that there's a rusted, you know, like, mouse hole, essentially. There's a rusted hole in the side of the wall. And you can see that where your foot slipped, there is oil on the floor. And next to your foot are 4 barrels, 4 drums of what would be lantern oil, like whale's oil, for this. Except you can see that in all of them, there is some sort of puncture. And that the oil has leaked out of each of the drums and has cascaded down and out of this rusted out hole. It does not seem to be naturally occurring holes.
I think I found where the oil went. I give the jugs or whatever they are like a slosh to see if there's even something lurking at the bottom of them, or are they just
there is just enough in them that you can, like, feel something shift weight. But maybe, like, if you're looking at the barrel, is maybe like a half an inch of liquid in each of them.
Yeah, not enough to get it started up.
Yeah. Or if you were to, like, you might have a feeling that if you were to pool all 4 of them into the thing, you might get it up and running for maybe an hour, maybe a couple hours.
All right, I'll get started on that. Might as well make use of it just in case we need it.
Okay. And Virginia, what are you looking at?
I am doing something similar to what I did with the door and the doll. I am touching the lantern, touching the sigil. I want to get a feel for the energy and the vibes of this room. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. You already rolled investigate, so I'm gonna play it off that you rolled observation. So you start touching stuff. It's my favorite when people just touch stuff. You reach out and you're, like, touching the sigil that Harold found. You kind of run your hand over the barrels that Enzo found. And you make your way over to where Winifred is. And as she's looking at the mechanism and trying to figure out the mechanics of this thing, you look at the... there is a large circular, like, concentric glass circles. There's a large circular lens here. You can see that it's a little concave, and it reflects the light out into, like, it magnifies the light out into the night sky. You look at this, and for some reason, as you sort of move, there's almost like a tinted shimmer, like the way that, like like fish scales might reflect, and you can kind of see a bluish green tint as you walk by. And it's enough to catch your eye. And again, as you're touching things and getting a vibe, you run your hand along the glass filament here, and you see something. Describe to me what it looks like as Virginia receives a vision. What does she look like?
Her eyes glaze over. She becomes very still. Her breathing kind of catches in her throat. Um, very like kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. You see that you are standing on a cliff, much like the ones behind you, in a violent storm. You are holding a lantern in your hand, and you know it to be the one that I believe you carry, the lantern. The wind howls around, and from the fog emerges a figure, a woman with hollow eyes and tattered clothing, her own lantern flickering with the same cold light as yours. She reaches out, but before the vision fades, her hand touches the light, and a deep, overwhelming sense of sorrow and betrayal washes over you as your eyes sort of flutter back and you are inside the lighthouse.
Stalloway, are you well? You gasped.
She's gonna, as she composes herself again, she's gonna look to Winifred. This woman is so hurt. There's so much sorrow and pain in her, and I can feel it. I saw her again at the cliffs.
Yes, well, she's drowned countless sailors in her pain. I find it difficult to be too sympathetic. But at least you are.
Enzo, as you begin to move the barrels to attempt to fill one enough or fill the jar enough, you notice something. It sticks out as you realize that you are now tracking footprints, oil slick footprints. You notice with your keen observation, your keen investigation, that this is not the only trail of footprints. There is another one that is very close to the walls that follows the ring around the wall to the staircase, and you seem to be disappears down the staircase. So someone else tracked oil through this place and down the stairs.
Is there any way to tell how recently?
It's oil, so you imagine it would have been dried up within probably a week, at least a week. So it is still enough of a sheen that you can see. So sometime within the week.
All right, now how long ago did the lighthouse keeper go missing?
About 2 days.
Okay. I pointed out to the rest of them. Looks like maybe the former lighthouse keeper here wasn't too keen on his own lighthouse.
Do the shape of the feet, and the size, do they appear more typical of a masculine foot or a more narrow, smaller feminine foot? Traditionally.
Yeah, they are a more masculine foot.
Okay.
Good question.
Teacher, I have a question.
Yeah.
Teacher.
These trails, do they only appear up here, or do we recall seeing any of the trails going down, or?
Here's what I'll say. You didn't roll an investigation check up the stairs. So he sees them now, and they do go down the stairs.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Damn it. Okay.
Do you think?
Once outside of here, you'd never be able to tell because everything's sort of wet.
Got you. Okay.
Do you think that perhaps she influenced the lighthouse keeper to sabotage his own lighthouse?
It could be. It could also just be his own desire driven by the need to do something.
He mentioned his final entry. He mentioned the light. It is failing me. He had already hidden the handheld lantern away by that point, and he had made numerous references to the fact that the light, which I am presuming is from the beacon here, he talked about how it was flickering more and more as time passed. I think someone sabotaged this, but at the same time, it was not him. I think it was someone else. The wick, if you look, it's not charred at all. It's been cut. And just to confirm, that is not something that would typically be done in the maintenance that a lighthouse keeper would undertake.
If the wick, if the wick were not taking oil, perhaps it would be cut, or if it was too, it was too wet at the tip, it would be cut. But this seems to be cut quite a bit, and you could easily just replace the rope as well.
And there is no remainder of the wick here, correct?
Correct.
Whoever cut this took it with them. Makes me think it was an intentional sabotage.
Well, if the wick's not here, it could. Exactly. I mean, where when maybe someone, like you said, someone took it. I wonder. Was there any reports? Does anyone recall if anyone else was seen around the lighthouse, or?
No, he was the only person that was on the island. There weren't supply runs. He would go to the mainland. The tracks. You said there were 2 different sets of them?
Well, one's Enzo's.
Okay, one is Enzo's, but there was a second set,
Yep,
correct?
a second one leads down the stairs.
Perhaps the second set is the footfalls of the saboteur.
Teacher, does the footsteps look like it's going up and then down, or just down, or is there like a
just
directional? Down. Just down.
Mm-hmm.
After he sabotaged the oil, he stepped on it, and then he kept going.
Perhaps we should follow the footprints down, see where they lead.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Let them know in town to send someone with oil and a replacement wick.
A replacement lighthouse keeper. I want to get on that pretty quick.
Just warn them not to follow any whispers or strange lights or singing.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we should go, Virginia said, let's go take a look at where these footprints lead, and,
And then inspect the cliffs.
Yes.
I'd also like to look around in the lower areas to see if there's like a backup storage for oil.
Okay. Before we do that, I'd like to know the order in which people are leaving this lighthouse.
I'm in front.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Actually, no. I want to be behind Miss Dalloway because I want to keep an eye on her. She's carrying that lantern. I have suspicions. I'm keeping an eye on her.
I'll go last.
Okay. I'm always suspicious of Miss Dalloway. Winifred, I would like you to make me...
It just connected. I'm actually so dumb.
I would like you to make me a roll here. Okay. I'm looking to see if there's actually a button on Roll20 for you to make this roll, but I don't think there is, which is inconvenient. Cool. So you're going to make a fear test. So here's how this works. When encountering a Vaesen, being exposed to magic, or feeling scared or stressed as a result of seeing something horrible like corpses, it takes effort to not lose control and become terrified. You must pass a fear test. You choose whether to tackle the situation with logic or empathy. the attribute value indicates how many dice you roll. So you get to choose logic or empathy, and that's the number you roll. So there is actually a way to
Definitely
do that.
logic.
Okay. So on your character sheet, underneath your attributes, you can go ahead and roll logic. But I think, yes, there are also 3 other people in your scene. So you get 1 extra dice for every one in the scene. So when it pops up with the bonus, just add 3 in there.
Oh, that's so
Nice.
cute. We're supporting her. I love that.
And then I don't know if this comes into play on this, but I do have knowledge is reassuring, which allows me to roll logic without penalties.
It does. Mental conditions do affect fear, so go ahead and make that roll with no conditions, if you have any.
I do not, but
Okay, so
wanted to double check if that's
Yep.
the kind of thing this would apply to.
it absolutely would. Outstanding.
Damn.
I rolled 8 dice there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Outstanding. Cool. I believe you cannot push a fear roll. So that's fun for me. So you get to choose. You become terrified. Fortunately, it's not a monstrous rule. You get to choose how you react to this. So I will explain what happens. So Enzo begins to head down the stairs. Harold follows with him. And as you, you're behind Miss Dalloway. Harold is last. So Enzo heads down, Virginia heads down, you head down. And as you are exiting the porthole to leave here, you take one more glance around. And the feeling of being watched no longer comes from the sea. It comes from all around you. The water, the stones, the cliffs, everything. You cannot help but feel as though a great eye has focused on you and is watching your every move as much as you watch Miss Dalloway's. You are terrified. You may flee, you may freeze, you may faint, or you may attack.
I think her fight or flight reflex is actually a freeze reflex. Kind of like when you're in a dream and you can't scream, you can't move, you're just so terrified, everything locks up.
Yeah.
And so she kind of takes a few steps and turns and then just locks up.
So Harold, you are the last person in the room. You are behind Winifred, and you see her, like, hand on the door, about to descend into the stairwell, completely freeze.
Harold, knowing Winifred, knows this is very out of character. So I think Harold would take a moment. Is Winifred looking in any direction, or is it just, like, frozen?
Appears to be frozen.
Her eye is just darting around. It's like it's looking everywhere. It's not focusing on anything in particular.
So Harold will he kind of composes himself for a minute and would I know that something's amiss, or is this, like, I don't know how rules work. Can I just say that or?
Yeah. I mean, you can obviously see that she is distressed in some capacity.
I don't think so. Harold wouldn't try to, like, figure out what's going on, but this being very out of character, he would just slowly take the cloak that he was wrapped around and just put it over Winifred and just kind of, like, get, like, close enough to where
her hand shoots out and grabs his wrist.
Yeah.
And it's just like a vice grip.
Yeah, and he's like, okay, fuck, okay. And it hurts, and then he's just gonna try to be like, one step at a time, and I'm gonna lean past and try to open the door for her and kind of try to guide her through that door.
Okay.
And I'm gonna, like, clearly something's around, or I don't know, but, like, I'm gonna assume, and that's what the fear is gonna be, like, what's happening. And he's not gonna look around. He's just gonna look dead forward, just at the door, and just try to focus on that doorknob and just get her through that door.
Okay. You wrap the blanket around her, and it's one of those things where, like, when someone says, "Hey man, don't think about elephants," the first thing you think about is elephants, right?
Fuck.
And everything in Harold knows that something is wrong here, and something may be around, and that you shouldn't look around. And for the most part, you do. and you get the blanket around Winifred, and you begin to come down the stairs, and you sort of like, comfort her and sort of ease her down. And as you pass the threshold of the door, you can't help yourself. And you glance over your shoulder just a little bit, just enough. And you see outside the view, you see the cliffs, you see the ocean, and you see a small cave where the water hits the cliffs. And you could have sworn, just for a second, you saw a flicker of blue-green light as you walked through the door and descend the lighthouse to rejoin the rest of your companions. Winifred, you will take one mental condition of your choice, angry, hopeless, or frightened.
I'm gonna take frightened.
Perfect. That fits the theme. That fits the theme here.
Yeah.
And we head downstairs with Virginia and Enzo. You did note that your companions were, a little bit lagging behind you, but, nothing to be incredibly concerned with. Enzo, you do see that there is a large jug, a large barrel that would be for oil. And you can see that there is like a date of like 6 months ago on there of when it was last delivered. And you can sort of pull the bung out of it and sort of like shine like whatever light you have, like a little like a lantern or whatever, and look in there, or just use the daylight. You can see that there is still a little bit of oil that you could loosen the tap and refill a jug with.
We can always just get oil from town if we need it.
Sure. Winifred and Harold, you join the rest of your companions. What are you guys doing?
I would keep an eye to see if her behavior changes, and other than that, just continue to guide Winifred straight forward. And kind of, I'm like humming a very like traditional sea shanty that like would be known from the military when we were working in the fields and all that. It's something that we would just do to calm ourselves. And I just I'm humming it in a very low tone, enough where she can hear it, but not too loud, and just kind of seeing when she's ready to let go. But if I see that we're getting closer to the group, like we're by the group now, I assume. Or?
Yeah, I mean it's only like 10 to 15 feet high of a staircase. It's not like enormous.
Yeah, and I'll just look over to Winifred and be like, "Are you there now?"
I think you're muted.
No, I'm mouthing.
Oh, okay.
Breathe.
The whole damn island.
I also felt a bit of a chill wind up there. Maybe you should just hold on to that blanket for a little bit. It's not really for me anymore. And I looked through my bag, and I don't have my fucking bag anymore. Damn it. Never mind. I'm just gonna like look in my pockets and see if I have anything that could be like used as a kind of like a stress ball, if you will, like anything that you can just squeeze. I feel like I would have some random knickknacks. Not only being a doctor, but being old, I feel like I carry random things. And I'm gonna like pull out what's like a wooden dolly or something, because why not? I carry that. And then I'm just gonna like place it in Winifred's hand and like try to put some pressure on it and just focus on the pressure and breathe. And then I'm gonna like just give her some space to recoup. And I'm gonna look over to Virginia and Enzo and be like, and I'm just gonna point up and be like, pointing upwards to the lighthouse.
What?
Just something spooked Winifred. Just I don't know. She just froze.
Was there something up there that we didn't see?
I didn't really stick around to look. But perhaps we should just move along and maybe regroup and discuss it when Miss Winnie here is herself.
Yeah, maybe it's time for a rest. I'm also very exhausted from my chest ordeal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a heavy chest. Yeah. Let's get moving here.
The lamp.
Huh?
You have it.
Yes, I have it.
Don't pull it out. Well, we're here.
Okay.
It's watching. It's question.
Yeah.
The impression I had that I was being watched by one great eye, you said?
Yes.
Was that reminiscent of the Vaesen feeling, like actually being looked at by one, or does this feel like a more intensified version of what happened out front?
The latter. A more intensified version of what
Okay.
happened out front.
Okay. She's watching closely.
Okay. That's okay. I watch people closely all the time too.
It's not. It's the entire town.
You know,
It's not one. It's
I
not one spirit. It's
I
the entire damn island
I
and all the
understand.
water surrounding it.
You know what else has water? Tea. We should go get some tea and maybe relax a little. Virginia, Enzo, let's get the fuck out of here. And I'm gonna just try to like start pushing, or like not pushing, but like guiding Winifred out of the lighthouse. I feel like it's getting more intense and just it's not like disseminating, dissolving. I don't know word. Dissipating. Thank you. So and I just want to like slowly walk her out of the lighthouse in hopes that maybe getting away from whatever that was up there will help.
I think we need to be very careful when traveling by water.
Yeah. I don't like water.
It's a good point. We have to go across that water to get back.
Oh fuck, you're right.
She's the water.
Exactly.
I don't want to go.
Well, that's a bit of a problem.
Can't go. Can't stay here.
I'd say we need to get off the island before it gets dark.
Yeah, agreed. What? We'll all be in the boat together. So, maybe just close your eye and we'll sing a little a sea shanty. I know plenty of them, and we'll just try. We'll be on land before you even know it. Virginia, would you mind helping Winifred?
Absolutely. And she's going to take Winifred by the hand and gently like caress the top of her hand. It's okay, Winifred. We're here with you. We're going to get through this together, but we do have to leave now.
Jason, are you carrying the chest? Are you bringing the chest?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back for the chest before we make our final departure.
All right. I would go with Enzo to help get the. Oh, I feel like he doesn't need it, but I'm just gonna go with him because I'm uncomfortable, and try to help.
And
That's
also,
fair.
Miss Winifred, I'm a pretty strong guy. I'm gonna get us across I can row us across this water pretty damn quick.
All right, let's get the fuck out of this place.
Enzo and Harold, without any struggle, the two of you retrieve the medium-sized chest, bring it back into the rowboat. Virginia,
just an FYI, I do not help him at all.
Yeah,
I
no,
just want
It doesn't matter.
we assumed.
Okay,
we
good.
assumed.
I'm
It's like-
cheering him on, but I'm
It's
I'm
like
not doing
it's like when a dad is like carrying something heavy and the kid has like a hand on it and it's not really doing anything.
Right?
That's exactly what he's doing. He's like, oh yeah, I got you. No,
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the guy in the middle of the couch who's like not doing anything. It's the two guys on the end that are doing everything else.
Fuck, that's me.
You put the chest in there while Virginia deals with Winifred in the boat. Getting her safely in there, and you begin to row back to the mainland. And as we close out, a little scene to set the mood. The wind howls across the open water, carrying the salty sting of the sea as the small rowboat rocks with the force of each wave. The lighthouse fades into the distance behind you, a looming shadow against the darkening sky, casting ghostly shadows in the churning ocean. Overhead, thick clouds roll in, blotting out what little light remains from the setting sun. The sky grows darker and the air feels heavy with the weight of something unseen, pressing down on the boat as it cuts through the water. In the distance, just beyond the horizon, there's a low rumble of thunder, deep, like the growl of something ancient stirring beneath the sea. The water slaps against the sides of the boat, and for a moment, the sound almost resembles the steady beat of a drum, a rhythm that seems too deliberate to be natural. Then a faint glow, barely perceptible, begins to shimmer along the surface of the water. It's the same eerie blue light that you saw in the lighthouse, reflecting faintly off the waves, as though the sea itself is beginning to glow from within. The light pulses softly, growing brighter with each second, casting long shadows across the boat. You strain your eyes to see the source, but nothing emerges. Just the shifting, flickering glow beneath the water. The boat dips suddenly, as if something large moved just beneath it. The oars creak, straining against the current. A gust of wind rushes past, colder now, and for a fleeting moment, it carries a sound with it. Distant, yet unmistakable. The sound of weeping. Soft and mournful, the cries of a woman carried on the wind and echoing across the water. The weeping rises, mingling with the roar of the sea as if coming from the very depths below. The water near the boat ripples unnaturally, and the flickering light, you think you see figures, vague, shadowy forms moving just beneath the surface. They drift in and out of view, the sea distorting in their shapes. First one, then another, then more. Their outlines are too human, their arms outstretched as though reaching for the boat, for you. And then, just as suddenly as it appeared, the light beneath the waves dims and fades. The figures vanish, leaving only the churning, restless sea. The wind dies down, and the weeping silenced. And for a moment, only the sound of the rhythmic splash of oars dipping into water, pulling the boat ever closer to the mainland. But the silence is uneasy. The sea is never truly still here, and something is watching from the dark depths below. And that's where we end this episode of The Witching Hour.
Fuck you, dude.
Yeah, that's what I live for. Hell yeah.
Like a force check to punch the water.
Yeah. You punch all of the ghostly aquatic apparitions.
Well, I have a quick question. And I know you're ending, but like while we're drifting away, would I have been able to see like the cave where I saw the glimmering light?
Yeah.
In the distance at all? Okay. All right, cool.
Yep. For sure.
I just make a mental note of that shit because I'm gonna forget next week.
Yeah. It's a cliffside cave, so like you have to like descend the cliff in some capacity, or descend where you were and row the boat over to the cliffside cave. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. Cool. That's it for episode 2, The Lanterns Glow. Let's see what the hell happens next time on this lovely, lovely show that we're all having so much fun in and not terrified at all. Cool. Let's go around, do our introductions, and we will start. Let's see. Who did I start with last week? I don't know. Not me. I did start with Cinda. Perfect. Let's start with Jason. Jason, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
My name is Jason. I'm playing Enzo. I have a podcast called Rollmageddon, where me and a bunch of very rude, crude, but also hilarious people play role-playing games and have lots of fun and discuss sometimes very strange things. Currently, we just today released the first episode of Raven, which is like an Edgar Allan Poe inspired RPG. Very interesting, very literary. We've done Coriolis, we've done Alien, Tales from the Loop is another big one. We're going to be doing Electric State. And yeah, so Rollmageddon, it's spelled right there on like underneath my name. And you do a search on the Google and should direct you to all the different places that carry our product.
Hell yeah, I highly recommend going to check that out. They have a bunch of cool Free League stuff, and also Pathfinder if you're into that. which eventually I'll listen to the Pathfinder game. From Jason, we will hop over to Paul. Who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
Hello, my name is Paul. I play Harold, as you can guess. My social is in123. I don't really do anything, but have fun here with amazing people. So where you can find me is right here. And yeah, that's it.
Hell yeah. Dope. Next up, Katie, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
Hello, everybody. My name is Katie Downey, aka Goblin Katie. You can find me on all the socials at Goblin Katie. Currently, I am appearing on this wonderful game, and it is chef kiss. Sunday evenings at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. You can catch me on Players and Book. You can also find us on the socials at Players and Book. And it is a 5e campaign set in a homebrew world named Heimel. And it features the wonderful DM, Dr. Sumerian. So I'm having a blast with it. Strongly urge you, if you like philosophical games, come check it out.
Hell yeah, that sounds dope. And last but not least, Cinda, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
My name is Cinda. You can find me on Instagram at witchlord3. I am up to this. This is what I'm doing. Other than that, just being my little old lady self-crafting. So if you're interested in that, come find me on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. That is it for all of us here. Thank you so much for enjoying this show. Thank you for being here and hopping in those comments. We got a bunch of them on this first video. If you're joining us late, go check us out over on YouTube. Subscribe, do all the fun things over there. Comment for the engagement, lords. And that's it. That's all we have. So from all of us to you guys, we will see you next time. From all of us to you, bye-bye.
Peace out.